Sometimes, I look at my hands, and I remember what I have done with these hands. What's really scary is, I don't have any nightmares of what I've done. This is what Ken Yuasa, a Japanese army doctor, said after looking at the horrors of human experimentation of Unit 731. Unit 731 was a Japanese research program during World War II that conducted horrific experiments such as infecting subjects with plague, giving subjects frostbite, and cutting people apart while alive and unsedated, and most of its victims were Chinese. Officially called the Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department of the Kwantung Army, its victims died painful deaths, whether alone tied to an operating table or in their communities, where thousands were wiped out by plague virus thrown into their wells in public health experiments. Which brings us to our next topic. Where did it start? As per reports, Japan's biological warfare program was started in the 1930s, after biological warfare was banned in the Geneva Convention in 1925. The Kwantung Army, which had at that time controlled large parts of China, made the headquarters near the Pingfang district in Harbin, and evicted around 8 villages to make their facilities. One of the main reasons for selecting Harbin was that test subjects were readily available. The Unit 731 was led by General Shiro Ishii, a combat medical officer of formidable reputation. Wood bugs. In the records of Unit 731, the test subjects were usually criminals, poor locals who signed consent forms for a small payment, and Russian, Korean, or Mongolian captives. One account, published in New York Times, narrates an experiment where a Russian mother and daughter were placed inside a thick glass chamber and had poisonous gas released inside. The mother sprawled herself over the child as doctors outside gathered to record and study their convulsions and time taken to die. Another account by a former Japanese medical worker named Takeo Wano narrates that a Western man was cut vertically in 2 pieces and was pickled in a 6-foot glass jar of formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is a highly inflammable and toxic substance which is used as a preservative here, which brings us to our next topic. Pathogen testing, studying plagues on live human specimen. One of the most dangerous aspects of Unit 731 was the testing of biological warfare weapons on live populations. Doctors under Shiro Ishii infected prisoners with live pathogens and studied how the diseases spread. To study infections, they sent infected persons among healthy prisoners. Some logs got infected with multiple pathogens to find out the cross-reactions of different diseases. Rats carrying the bubonic plague were let loose among cages of prisoners. To study the spread of sexually transmitted diseases, Unit 731 doctors forced subjects to rape and impregnate female prisoners. Some women were forcefully impregnated to study disease progression during pregnancy and fetal transmission. Fetus, newborns were test subjects too. Vivisections. One of the most harrowing tales of the atrocities of Unit 731 was the accounts of vivisection, cutting open live prisoners, often without anesthesia. In an NYT report, a former Unit 731 member, under the condition of anonymity, has described how they used to cut open prisoners while they screamed. The purpose of vivisection was to study the spread of pathogens into the internal organs of test subjects while they were alive. The intention was to develop plague bombs, using humans to spread diseases among Japan's enemies. They experimented with plagues, anthrax, and cholera. Some reported field trials are also present. Aftermath. When USA dropped nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, making it clear that the war was over, Unit 731 used dynamites to destroy its headquarters in China. Shiro Ishii lived a comfortable life in Tokyo till old age. His faithful associates raised in ranks and were placed in important positions. As per reports, in 1945, U.S. General Douglas MacArthur had received intelligence about the unit's work from secret documents. He reported granted Ishii and his associates immunity from prosecution in exchange for their scientific documents. Many members of Unit 731 were arrested by the Soviet Red Army and were tried at the Khabarovsk war crime trials. In 2017, Japanese national broadcaster NHK had released a documentary detailing the atrocities of Unit 731. It had caused a huge uproar in Japan at that time. However, the atrocities and the countless tales of suffering of the victims are lost forever. They are now fleeting shadows of forgotten complicity, rendered to the obscure pages of history among a million others.